Hello, thank you for stopping by. My name is Becky and this is BecxReadz, and today I have a recommendation collab for you. Not one created by me. Hannah at Hannah Blackwell invited me to participate in a beach read recommendation collab with a few other lovely booktubers. I will have all of them tagged down below. Go check out their videos today. See what kind of fun beach read recommendations you can get. Unfortunately, I had a whole vibe planned for this video. I was going to put on a bikini, I was going to put on a floppy hat, sunglasses, and hold a little drink in a little coconut-shaped mug while the sun was shining on me. However, it ain't vibing today. It is raining outside, it's not the warmest, and all of my summer clothes are packed away, and I just did not feel like getting them out. The vibes aren't vibing, but this is as beachy as I could get. This is a top I got in Hawaii, so there's that, and I got a baseball hat on, which I typically wear at the beach. I always wear a hat at the beach to protect my face and stuff. But that's as beachy as I got. But I do have some great recommendations for you. So when I think of a beach read, automatically I think of audiobooks because I can't read outside physically, so I have to listen to audiobooks at the beach. Now, not all of these books I've read via audio. I just think they're fun beach reads. That's another thing I think of when I think of beach reads. I think of fun, entertaining, and easy to read. First up, we are going to go with some actual sea-themed books, and my first recommendation is I Married a Merman by Regine Abel. This is a sci-fi alien romance about a woman who I want to say her name is Nora or Nira. I should have written this down before I started this video. Anyway, she is very sickly, like the whole planet of Earth just makes her sick. So she enters into this program to send her to a different planet in an arranged marriage where hopefully the atmosphere is more conducive to her body. So she gets paired up with Echo, who is a merman, and goes to live with him on his planet. And there they get to know one another, their relationship develops, and the female main character learns a little bit about her lineage because she was like adopted or something and she really doesn't know her biological parents, and it turns out that she might have some qualities of the mer people, which is why she had a hell of a time on Earth. So this is a super quick, super fun, lighthearted alien romance. The characters had good chemistry. I loved the world and how it was described on Echo's planet because there's sort of like this underwater city, and it was so beautiful. I think this would be an excellent beach read because, you know, water and beach and merman, it just fits, right? The next seafaring recommendation I have for you is a YA fantasy, and that is Saint by Adrienne Young. This entire series really, Saint, Fable, and Namesake. In this one, we are following Fable's father and her mother's origin romance. And Saint here, he is trying to make a name for himself, trying to locate this treasure, and Fable's mom has a way of finding certain things that he is looking for. So they reluctantly team up, a romance blossoms between them, and then you get into Fable and you see that she is a grown woman now, and she is trying to escape this island that her father left her on to try and find him and become part of his crew. And there she ends up meeting West, who is another pirate, and they form a relationship as well. So I would suggest, if you've never read this series, start with Saint, because like I said, it is her father and mother story, and then go into Fable and Namesake. I really enjoyed this entire YA fantasy series. I thought it was adventurous and entertaining and a quick read. It's really easy to read. I loved the audio narrations, so this is definitely one that I would read on the beach. And I just loved the whole piratey seafaring gem searching storyline. There's no spice, but the characters had great chemistry, and if you like YA fantasy, I definitely think you should check out this series on your next beach trip. And the last seafaring adventure that I want to recommend to you is a adult historical fantasy, and it is The Bright and Breaking Sea by Chloe Neal. So this is about Kit Brightling, who is a female ship captain, and she has an affinity with the ocean. She can sort of talk to it and manipulate it, and for that, her ship is very lucrative. So the queen of this territory sends Kit out with the very reluctant help of this retired ship captain. to track down this traitor that was left on a pirate island, and they're to bring him back for his trial. So these two set out on a seafaring adventure together. They don't really like each other because he really thinks that there's something sketchy about how well her ship is run, and she doesn't like him because he is a man trying to tell her how to do her job. But through working together and through being confined on the ship, they grow closer, they form a camaraderie, and they get to actually know each other and develop this kind of romance. It's not super romancy, but you can tell that there's attraction there, and you can tell that it's going somewhere. I, once again, really like this. I did not listen to this on audio, so I'm not sure how the audio narration is, but I thoroughly enjoyed this seafaring adventure in this historical fantasy. I loved the chemistry between Kit and the captain, and I loved her water affinity and just what a strong and sassy female main character she was. Now on to just some recommendations that are just fun and fast and entertaining to read. So up first, I have a contemporary romance to recommend to you, and this is one of my favorite contemporary romances. It is hilarious, and I reread it a couple times, and I still enjoyed it on reread just as much. I laughed my ass off just as much. And that is Tempt the Boss by Natasha Madison. This is about our female main character, Lauren, who is a single mom, and she is trying to get back into the workforce after her divorce to provide for her children, but she's having a hell of a time with it. And on the way to her interview, her car gets run into by this jerk of a guy, and she finds out that this jerk of a guy is her new boss, Austin. So they start out in this very, very contentious enemies to lovers atmosphere. They start playing pranks on one another until they take it a little too far. And he has to end up groveling to her and convincing her to come back and work for him after she leaves. And there he meets her two kids, and they sort of form this family together. And they realize that they are, in fact, attracted to one another, and their romance begins. So, like I said, this is a pretty short book, but I laughed so damn hard reading this book. It was highly entertaining, the pranks that they play, and I would say that this is a true enemies to lovers because their pranks get really dangerous to the point that they're like harming one another. So, if any of that sounds good, I highly recommend this one. My next fun and entertaining read isn't exactly what you would think of as a beach read, but again, it's fun and entertaining, and you'll have a great time reading it and or listening to it, and that is Butcher and Blackbird. I'm sure you know what this is by now. This is about Sloane and Rowan, who are two serial killers who meet each other, and they devise this game to track down other serial killers and see who can kill them first. It sounds dark, and it sounds gruesome and morbid, right? It is. Yeah, it is. But it's entertaining as hell. If you're sitting on the beach reading this and you aren't totally enthralled, you're doing it wrong. Another darker and kind of gruesome book that is just highly entertaining that I think you should check out is Someone You Can Build a Nest In. So this is a newer release, and from what I've heard, the audiobook is done really well. But in this, we are following this monster named Shishian, and she is just a blob. And she lives in the basement of this old rundown manor, just trying to mind her own business, when these monster hunters come and they try to attack her. So she constructs this human-esque body out of the bones of the victims laying around her, out of the random bits and bobs that are surrounding her as well, like a chain for a backbone and a bear trap for a mouth. And she tries to fight them off, but she ends up being hurt, and this other human named Homily ends up finding her, and she mistakes her for another human because I guess she looks that human-esque. And Homily ends up taking care of Shishian, and they develop this very sweet romance, but there are some dangers lurking in the weeds with Homily's family because they are the ones who are trying to kill her. Highly entertaining. Unlike any fantasy romance you will ever read, I can guarantee it. This doesn't have any spice in it at all, but you can feel the love that Shishian and Homily have for one another. So if you haven't checked this out and you're into fantasy romance with like a little darker side to it, that's just humorous and will keep you on the edge of your seat. You should definitely check this out. Now on to more lighthearted, entertaining reads. The first one I am going to share is Wild Scottish Night by Trisha O'Malley. This is about Sophie and Lachlan. Sophie ends up inheriting this castle in Scotland, so she moves there and she has to try and turn it around, make it lucrative for tourists. But she also has to protect it from the Kelpies that are attacking people, and she has to protect this island that holds an artifact that gives people power. So she finds out that she is one of several people who are going to have to come together, sort of like a Knights at the Round Table, and use her talents to protect this small town of Lorenbray in Scotland. However, she is met with some reluctance when she meets Lachlan, who really doesn't want her to screw up the things that he has going in this little town. He's very protective of this town, and he doesn't want this outsider to come in and screw things up for him. And they end up in a romance together. So this is just lighthearted, it's sweet, it's got some whimsy and magic to it. It's set not at a beach, but it's set near a loch, and that's close. I really liked the audiobooks of this entire series. I think they're really well done and they're really quick to get through. So I think if you're sitting on the beach and you want something lighthearted and fun and a narrator with a Scottish accent, I think you would really enjoy this. And the sun decided to come out, and now it's gone again, so excuse the abrupt lighting change, my god. And my last recommendation for a fun and entertaining beach read is another lighthearted one. It was my favorite book from 2023, and that is Strange Love by Anne Aguirre. This is another sci-fi alien romance about Xyler and Beryl. Xyler is this almost robotic, kind of bug-looking alien. But he is trying to find someone to enter into this mating tournament, because if he doesn't find a mate, this is his last chance. And if he doesn't find somebody, he is going to be decommissioned. So he ends up accidentally abducting Beryl and her dog from Earth. And they're on this spaceship, and Beryl's like, okay, sure, why not? I mean, I can't really do anything about it. I have no way to get home. He seems like a sweet guy. Sure, I'll enter to be his nest keeper, which is essentially a mate for his young. So they end up doing this, and they get to know one another, and it is the cutest freaking romance ever. This book had me smiling so hard my cheeks hurt. I was listening to the audiobook and I loved it, and I just could not stop smiling, could not stop laughing. The relationship between Xyler and Beryl was so freaking sweet, but there is some spice in this as well. Not a lot, like maybe 1-2 peppers. But it was so entertaining, so sweet, and it just made my entire day reading this book. The dog also, oh my god, there's a little dog in here. He is the cutest fucking thing you will ever listen to. He's got his own voice in this audiobook, and it's so cute. You like alien romance. If you want to just dip your toe into alien romance and you think it's like too much, this is a good place to start, because it's super lighthearted, but you get that alien interaction. And he is a true alien too. He's not just like a different colored dude with a weird peen. Okay, he's alien. So I cannot recommend this one enough. Those were my recommendations for some great beach reads. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these or what your favorite beach read is. If you don't want to comment that but would like to let me know that you made it to the end of this video, could you leave me a beach emoji? This thing. Thank you, Hannah, once again for inviting me to participate in this collab. Be sure to check out all the other participants tagged down below. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, go enjoy the beach and read a good book. Bye.